Greetings, BlazeLeeDragon here, and today's book review is going to be on a book called Develop Your Psychic Skills by Enid Hoffman, and I might be pronouncing that name incorrectly. This book was originally printed in 1981. I've had this copy for, I believe, 18 plus years. The book itself is a book that I personally would recommend. It originally sold for $9.95. There's a picture of the author and the original price. I do not know what it sells for now because, from what I understand, it is a very difficult book to get a hold of. Now, there are things I like about this book and things that I don't like about this book, as is the case with many of the books that I own. This particular book, as you've noticed from the cover, has a whole bunch of different words and techniques that are related to psychic skills and different sub-classifications of techniques that are considered psychic skill techniques. The beginning of this book actually runs you through exercises, and this is something I like, that it has both solo and group exercises for developing your awareness and your psychic potential. In the very beginning, it talks about focusing, relaxation, breathing, and affirmations. All, I think, are critical building blocks when developing any sort of mental training. Even if you don't go to the realm of psychic skills or magic, I still think those are good techniques to practice and to have. There is then where it breaks down into categories for different types of techniques. You have like the telepathic sending and receiving, you have the psychokinesis, the healing, the reprogramming, the past life recalling, and it breaks it down and it shows you which page it's on and what the exercise is. So for that aspect, I think it's a brilliant book that really gives you a lot and really opens your mind as some of the psychic phenomenon potential that's out there, as well as developing within yourself. In the beginning of this front cover here, it talks about precognition, psychokinesis, psychometry, psychic photography, telepathy, automatic writing, clairvoyance, dowsing, ESP, meditation, past life recalling, and healing. And I already said some of these because then it repeats over and over and over again. So from that aspect of learning about some of the different things that are classified, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a good read in that aspect. I like the exercises for the most part for some of the skills and techniques. One of the ones that throws me off a little bit is the psychokinesis. And the reason for this is, now psychokinesis, for those that are not familiar with it, is often referred to as PK or telekinesis. Psychokinesis, psycho being mental, kinesis is movement, so it's mind movement or mental movement. Telekinesis, which is another term for it, tele being far or distant, kinesis being movement, so you're talking about distance movement. So it depends on who you're talking to, but usually psychokinesis is the go-to term and the one I'm most comfortable with. I think psychokinesis has the potential to be possible, and I think it is an actual ability that we have to a certain degree. I think that if we are talking about moving energy, be candle flame, or just causing a bit of influence through the mind, I think that's possible. Personally, that's my personal view on that. However, being able to actually move or lift an object, I reserve the right to be open-minded about it. However, looking into practicing and researching this stuff, at least since the age of 13, if not a little bit longer, so I'm 35 today, or not today, but right now when I'm making this video, I'm 35, so we're talking about 22 years, and I've never personally run into an individual who can move a physical object, lift a pen, or a needle, or a paperclip. I've never seen that personally. So if it is possible, I've never run across it. There's been a lot of people and scam artists who claim to have that ability, so for that reason, when I see exercises that talk about actually lifting objects, which are in here, it does give me some reservations. One of the stories in here, it talks about psychokinesis, and it is talking about a situation where one of her students was trying to, and I was trying to see if I could actually find this here, was trying to lift a ping pong ball, and the ping pong ball kind of vanished. And then he lost his concentration and it fell out of nowhere. So he kind of asked her, like, well, what happened? Why did this disappear? And with that, my first impressions, let's see. When I was teaching psychic skills, one of my students decided he would like to develop the skill of psychokinesis. And this, and his next experiment used a ping pong ball on the basis. So this is, if you have the book, it's on page 114 and 115, is the story I'm referring to. But she talks about his experience of lifting the ping pong ball, it vanishes and reappears, and her explanation was basically it was spinning so fast it was no longer reflecting light, I believe is what it had said. And maybe I don't have a full understanding of the science behind it, but I don't think that a fast spinning object vanishes from sight. I mean, maybe becoming blurred or difficult to see, but we're talking about a ping pong ball, solid round object spinning quickly. I guess I couldn't imagine it just disappearing. I would assume it would still be there, just maybe be a motion blur. So how fast would it have to have been spinning to vanish? I don't know. Like I said, that's something that maybe you look into, but when I read that, I'm reading about someone who could actually lift a ping pong ball with their mind, and I'm reading about something that vanishes because of it. So to me, this gave me some reservations on some of the exercises in here and made me have some questions. However, like I said, on the most part, a lot of these exercises and drills, I found good, solid drills. I think most of it's pretty decent. It just leaves the question of how much do you want to put into as far as stock into a book like this? How much of this is actual skills you can develop, and how much of this is possibly fiction to help sell the book or bulk it up? I don't know. With that in mind, like I said, I go back to my original thing that I stated, and that is I do recommend the book. I do think it's worth adding to your collection. I think it's worth reading through, and I think some of the exercises you might find rewarding. So, thank you for watching. Remember to hit that thumb up, like, and subscribe, and leave your comments below.